Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're not too tired now, so I'll try to make it something much more easy to digest. There are a lot of screenshots here, so it will be much more easy to get in touch with it. We can skip the introduction about the necessity of digitization. I would just try to emphasize here the first three bullets. It talks about technologies that involved in the digitization process. In this project, we didn't really pay attention to the scanning technology, but mainly about the OCR and the post-correction tools. We try to, what we talk here about €1 per page is mainly about proofing the data in order to get 100% of accuracy. It's not about the regular transcription. As you know, here in the project, we put a lot of emphasis in a crowdsourcing solution. So we were the one in charge in the collaborative correction tool. We had the very nice references of distributed proofreaders from the Gutenberg project. We had the National Library of Australia presenting here in ICDAR 2009 conference, in Impact, sorry. And we had the LDS Church, Family Search Project, and we also have recent projects like the National Library of Finland, which had the digital CUT, which is a very nice tool that was presented recently. It seems that people do contribute. At the moment, it's not clear how much they get stuck and continue to contribute, but it seems that at the moment it's running a few years and it's going really well. So from our point of view, it's a Gutenberg project. We have the first generation crowdsourcing platform, which is actually a side-by-side application, downloaded, running on the desktop solution. We have the second generation, which deals with the Australian newspaper collection, which is more or less the same like the Gutenberg, but it's more like a web solution, which allows much greater use without any installation at the back end. So it's a very nice addition. If we say something about state of art, the ones that are running during the last few years, we can say that it's basically a side-by-side solution. There is a very easy to detect drawbacks, that it's relatively slow. It's prone to errors because it's on a page level, and there is no option to cross-check and something like that. So it takes too much time in order to finish the job. Okay, that's the third generation is trying to expand the support from much younger participants. Talking about the mole games that they have been specialized in. Basically, is to show the results and say whether it's correct or not. Sometimes they have an application that gives you the option to edit it. It's very nice. What we can say about it, it's first of all, it allows wider participation. It's very easy to cross-check because it's you try to isolate the problem to check whether 2 or 3 or 4 people, depending on the quality that you would like to expect. It allows parallelism of multiple users from different books, and it's fully scalable as well. So it sounds very good, but it's a very direct drawbacks, which is actually is a low productivity factor. Can answer it if somebody wants more details about it. It's a very static process. That means it doesn't really matter if you go and approach this word now or maybe in 5 years, it will get the same results. There's no adaptivity. There is a limited use of feedback from the users, which actually also connected to the adaptivity factor. So we also anticipate that it will take too long to complete the digitization process with these tools. Okay, that's the regular way that collaborative correction. There is a few principles for the collaborative correction platforms. We would expect it to be a web solution, so anybody accessing the web can approach it without any complex installations. It should be quite intuitive to use. We should somehow get and announce that there is a call for participants, and also to have some kind of motivation, such as top performance lists and maybe recognition events, like we heard in, I think, in Australia was like this, and some other kind of acknowledgements. This is our tool. We call it Concert. It's a cooperative. I can take you back. You know, we chose the name and then we said we found what it represents, but basically. But basically, what we want to say here is basically, if you think about it, a lot of people doing some work together, like a concert of a few different music devices. So it's in a way, it's like doing a concert together in order to get to the target. So what's really special about Concert? So we have the adaptive collaborative platform. It's completely adaptive. That means it's using the feedback from the user in order to improve the results later on. It's very strictly involved with the adaptive engine. We have a lot of productivity tools, which are actually designed in order to make use of the adaptivity factor. And it's also should be more or less intuitive to use and also allow the user to work more than the regular process. So it's easy to use. We break down data into the level that we can, for example, review. So if data can be reviewed in a Carta level, this is what we do. If it's needed the world level, so that's where we go. And that's on until you go into the page level. This is a very easy way to look on the process. So you can see from the, we start from a scanned book, and then it goes through image analysis tools, like the tools we do in TR1. We start with the Omni engine. At the moment, our in-house OCR engine is Abby FineReader. We just migrated to the 10th version, which actually answers some of the basic requirements that we had for the adaptive solution. So we start with this engine running, and then we have a way to extract the book fonts. And then we get and we organize a book-specific adaptive OCR engine. We go and run the OCR, and then there is in the loop the concert quality control. Sometimes needed verification from the user, sometimes only with a dictionary. It's can be done with a loop, and also we have some interface for the concert games, which actually using more or less the same interface like we do with the productivity tools. The web users have access to the productivity tools and the games. We actually have also a B2B solution. That means that a business can upload and download data using web services. Does not necessarily need to look like this. So the scanned book is not uploaded using the UI, but through the web services implemented in WebSphere. Very easy, standardized way to do the web services. And at the end, we get, once the quality control is satisfied, we go and we have the the results, high quality results. So we said that adaptive OCR is a very critical component within the system. What do we expect from the adaptive OCR? There is a very strict requirements for the adaptive OCR. In order to be able to integrate it within a collaborative correction platform, we need it to be somehow reliable. So we need to better understand the scoring mechanism in order to know when this is suspicious, in what level, what confidence, what is the level that need to be addressed. So that's a very strict requirement. And this is something that is not being available anywhere. So it's very unique. There is no any possibility to allow any kind of prior knowledge on the font. So actually, you can use any kind of font inside, Japanese, whatever you want. You need to be able to use the feedback from the users. That means that even in a character or in a word level, you need to be robust for distortions, printing variations, and even the page distortion, as you have seen before. And also somehow to do the adaptivity between books from the same publisher with the same font, something like this. So this is something that we should carry from book to book. And it's also one critical requirement is not to be too slow. So we expect something like up to 3 times slower than the regular process that we do today. Okay, a little bit about the technical considerations that we had at the beginning of the project. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the way that OCR technology works, but there are basically main 2 leading OCR approaches. One is a pixel domain. That means that a pixel gets into some kind of a recognition engine as a pixel, not as a feature. So somebody will call it template matching. There is a very strict, very straightforward pros and cons. The pros are it's easy to implement. It's also have very nice scoring mechanism. The cons here, it's rather slow. It's also very sensitive to very small variations of the characters, so that's why it's not being widely used. The feature domain is very attractive. It's very fast. It's also robust to small variations. And if you are very advanced, you can also integrate some invariant features that can also improve robustness to some kind of distortions that we have in page distortion. So there's a very straightforward distortions that you can somehow, anybody who really knows about the OCR technology knows that there are features which are invariant to these kind of distortions. And you can integrate it, and it's very nice. But that's all sounds very attractive. The problem is that when you talk about features, it's something that you cannot really panelize one feature to the other. So it's a set of features without a really good relationship between them. So you don't know what are the distance criteria. So that's where it falls. This is why it's not really a good way to go when you use OCR to work on the feature domains, because it's not consistent with the scoring mechanism. So it can be, sometimes you can be really amazed how this one is closer to, and there is no connection. So because it's a set of features which are not really a good solution. Okay, we have adaptive OCR with a hybrid approach. That means what's hybrid in it? So it is in a way a kind of template matching, but the template matching does not allow comparison of 2 characters which are relatively slanted. So what do we do? So we have a very unique approach where we allow warping between 2 types of, between the template and the character itself. And we panelize some kind of the divergence of the transformation. That means from your point of view, divergence is it's if I wrap two characters, there are some missing pixels. On the way, I just smash something on the way, and I need to penalize it. So this is the penalty. It's talking about the divergence, is the missing or the additions of new pixels. So that's what we do, and it's a very unique approach. These are the kind of distortions that we have. Here on the left-hand side, you see the template as the reference template. At the middle, you see the candidate. So if you use a straightforward template matching mechanism, you get 0. You don't really match between these two. But with our OCR, we do a very fast warping mechanism, which allows us to warp it and to panelize the warping as well. Okay. The system flow. Once we understand the adaptive OCR mechanism, now we need to understand how the interface with the user works. So we have basically 3 main sessions, which are productivity sessions. The major one is the Carter session, where we show the user a fast validation of OCR. The second one is a Word with suggestions. And the third one is a page level. It's very intuitive to use, very easy to relay out everything. So that's the basic, the skeleton of the system in terms of UI. I can go straight and show you the example. This is how a Carter session looks. You see a group of A's with different kind of confidence level. And here you need to choose only the wrongly classified one. So for us, it's very easy to detect. We as humans are very sensitive to change in texture. So we basically, with a very short glance, we can recognize what are the missing, what is the wrongly classified one. So you just select it and submit. That's another example. Carpet of E. And that's K, etc. So now we go to the word session. This looks like this. You have a list of words with suggestions coming from the speller using technologies of voting between 2 engines as well. Basically, we with our investigation was that on a book that we had, the basic was, I think it was about 89 hit rates of the OCR engine. We were able to get into more than 99% just by the suggestions. So there was no need for a key anything, just to choose one of them. So if you think about the mole game, so we wouldn't have only one suggestion. You have 2 suggestions. You can just choose one of them, and it will be sufficient. This is how it looks after. So you just choose one of these options, and you can also override. This is a very nice example how you can use the same error, the same thing. So if you have a consistent OCR engine, so you will see them grouped together. Even if you have an error, what is really important is that the error will be consistent. So that's what you benefits. So you have all the suggestions. You can choose all of them at once, and you can, maybe I'll just use this one. So you can just have it like this. The page session, here is screenshots of word level suggestion with at the top you have the original quality, so you don't need to really look side by side. It's a very smart overlay. Then we have on the right hand side you see the line level, here the paragraph, and here the option to add some tagging information to the page. Okay, So we understand that the systems allows us to use adaptive OCR, allows us to do some verification into the even in the word level, and also go into the page level, and then to complete the full transcription. But we didn't say anything about the support. What are the languages that are supported? So at the moment, we have support for English, for French, for Gothic, for Dutch, and even for Japanese. So basically, we have support for anything that we have if we have a dictionary and if we have a reference Omni OCR that allows us to start from a starting point. This is a very nice example of application that we had customized concert also for another project that we have. It's the Hearst Archive. It's actually a form processing solution on top of a concert tool. That's more or less about the use of concert as concert, is the regular conventional way. But now, since we use the web and we have web users, so we need to somehow monitor their work. So basically, why do we need to monitor? We have malicious user. Let's say maybe they're not malicious, but they're not quite qualified to do the work. They don't really understand what it is. They don't really know the fonts. They don't know the words, etc. It's also very nice to know that during the work that we did here in the Impact Project, it was also very important to the partners here to get feedback. It's not only for monitoring for us in order to get or not to get the work, but also to be able to motivate them. So we have three validation scenarios. We have good injections, so that means that we inject words or characters that we know that they are correct. So if the user changed the recognition, so that means that he's somehow trying to mess us up. So we have also similar injections. That means that words, characters, that it's very frequent changes. That means that you can think about B and D, that they have the mirror of each other, and something that checks the alertness of the person. So we have similar injection. We also have error injection that we know that it's not correct if the user accepts it, so it doesn't really do the job. So all these three things give us a very robust evaluation. This is how it goes. I will go strictly. If you see here on the right-hand side, this is my name, Asaf, and I have a 5-star rating. So I said to myself, let's try to mess it up. So I just submitted this carpet, and then, oops, I get reduced to 4 because I did mistake. So then I need to get more good feedback. So I said I will go with it. So I didn't really mess up here that there are actually B's here. So I just submitted, so I just got punished again. So now I have 3.5 stars. And then I try to improve myself, and then I accept this one. I reject them. Then I wanted to get my rating up again. So that's when I finish. There were a few steps on the road as well, but that's how it goes. So that's the monitoring. And this was one of the major things which allows us, this is the basic in order to get concert games. So without this feature, we couldn't really monitor the work that the users are doing. So we couldn't just open it to the public. So now we have concert games. We actually have 2 games at the moment. Both are on a character level. One is characters that blinks, and you need to click on them before they go. It's very nice. Here is an example how it goes. This interface, it goes through tablets, Android solutions. and also a desktop solution. That's the one in the in the in the slope here. And we also have Android. It's a Samsung copy of iPhone, and which allows us to use the web toolkit. So we do some kind of games that two characters that you need to actually you can miss between them. So you actually need to feed those dolphins that waits downstairs here and wants to eat something. So this one goes and eat the C, and the other one goes and eat the R. And it's not accidentally, but mostly we have lots of errors with the C and R. So this is why we match these two. And actually, we have a pig. Dolphin pink. The pink dolphin represents the pig that eats everything. So he eats the junk, which is not relevant here. So that's concert games. We have concert in use in Hearst User Collection. We have the pilot in Japan for the NDL. Unfortunately, we had the Earth, the thing in Japan, which actually stalls everything there. And we also have first phase pilot with the libraries in Europe. We had the KB, BL, and BSB. And a little bit about the future of concert. So we try to see what will be needed. I think that the first stage will be to be able to integrate search capability. We already had a prototype of it, but now we need to migrate it to the new search engine that IBM provides. We also have a strong emphasis of improve the user feedback mechanism, to have some kind of online advisors when you do mistakes, to have the best performance. This is some kind of motivation. Very important for the libraries to have community building around content. So we need to integrate some community tools within the platform. We want to have expanded the concert games. Now we have 2 prototypes, but we need to expand it and to allow maybe even an open framework for games. And we have the ebook creation, which will allow the user from tablets to read the books. Very important. And we also want to integrate a page distortion correction, the work that we do within the promising research, maybe to productize it in next year. And so I think that concludes my part. I think that Lotte wants to add something. In the meantime, anybody have any question? Thank you.
As Asaf just mentioned, we've had 3 pilots at Impact Libraries, and I'm here very quickly to tell you about them. Yeah. Okay, so the first pilot was done by the National Library of the Netherlands, which is where I work. My name is Lotte Wilms, and I'm part of the Impact Project team at the KB. We've had the pilot for a week, from March 7th until March 11th, and we had 13 KB employees working on it. We asked them to reserve about 2 hours each day, and they corrected 12 items, and those were books, newspapers, and also an encyclopedia. The second pilot was done by the British Library, which was done from April 4th until April 8th. And they had 8 employees and 20 items, also newspapers and books, mostly books. And the third pilot was done by the Bavarian State Library from May 2nd until May 6th, with 12 employees and 10 items. The BSB also uploaded a modern book to see what happens when you process that one. All 3 of us did user testing, for which we've received full support by IBM staff. All the testers had to fill out a questionnaire or a web survey covering every aspect of the tool. And the outcomes of those surveys were sent to IBM, and they've used that to improve their tool. And, well, it's illegible, but these are all the very positive comments from the BSB. It says, like, things that it's very simple and easy to use and enjoyable to work with, for example. The KB has also looked at how to integrate the tool into the library workflow. One of our information analysts worked out 3 scenarios: to use the tool as part of the digitization activities, to use the tool after a collection has been made available, and to use the tool for both during digitization and after a collection has been made available. To come up with the best solution, we've had discussions between KB digitization experts and IBM Haifa. And the conclusion was that scenario 1 was seen as the best option for the KB. Otherwise, we would have to change a lot in our workflow. All the recommendations we gathered. So we sent the outcomes of the user test to IBM. And yeah, of course you haven't seen the pre-concert, but what Asaf has just presented. There's now an in-tool help function. You can track your progress while working. And there were some minor issues, like I want a button to reject these characters, or I want, in the page session, there's now a complete overlay of colors instead of just a box. And for the workflow implementation, we recommended that they'd try a pilot with a service provider, and also, if it's possible, to use existing OCR files as an input. These have been logged by IBM Haifa, and where possible, they've also already implemented them. Oh, thank you for your time. I don't think we have time for questions, but I had to be really quick. Bravo.